What's going on with Britney Spears? We know that earlier this week she was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. We've also heard that her team is saying this could be a wake-up call. So we bring in Melissa Harrison, a licensed counselor. First of all, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me.
For sure. I, you don't think that that's a sentence that many people would say. You've been arrested for suspicion of drunk driving, and it could be a good thing. And yet, many of us have had a window into what Britney Spears' life might look like because she posts these kind of, erratic Instagram images that people talk about, they comment. So people think there may be something in the world of mental illness drawing these acts together. I know you don't treat her or see her, but we wanted to hear your thoughts on the whole thing.
Yeah, it's reasonable why people are concerned. There's some long-standing erratic behavior. Each individual event is certainly not diagnostic. We can't say loving being naked is a mental health diagnosis. But, over the years, especially given erratic behavior plus a potential DUI is definitely starting to get into concerning territory, whether we're talking about, a couple different mistakes made at the same time, or we may be talking about a pattern that could lead to us you know, uh, being more concerned about her mental health, potentially drug and alcohol use. And even though I can't confirm details on those reports, I think it does speak to maintaining sobriety can be complex. Mental health is complex. It looks different for different people.
So, our broadcast partner, TMZ, has been reporting that she fired her sober coaches. For people who don't know what that is, um, talk us through that. My assumption is it's someone that lives with her 24 hours a day to support her sobriety, but I don't know if I have that right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can look different for different people, certainly in different situations. Someone like Britney Spears, who may have access to a lot of resources and funds, can certainly hire someone to be with them 24/7. So it's possible that that was like a live-in sobriety coach that is no longer with her, making her more vulnerable to certain decisions.
We talk about this, and we've talked about this before. When you break your leg, everyone can see the cast on your leg. It's a broken leg. When your brain is broken, meaning there's mental illness, we just can't see it. And so I think, some of the comments on the Instagram are ridicule. Some of the comments are genuine concern. And, we're kind of here. We talked about this earlier with Rob, one of her former publicists. We're in this space, and I should say she is and her family is, because she was, under a conservatorship, which she said was way too strict, far too prohibitive. She was trapped in her house, forced to work. I mean, she said many of these things on TV, on social media, and beyond. And yet people think maybe she didn't get enough. Like, is there an in between? And I don't know the answer to that. Like, is there something where someone's checking in, but you're not forced to be at home all day with this? I don't know.
hmm Yeah, I mean, it's so hard because she's an adult. And adults in this country have civil rights, and so conservatorships are controversial. Mental health is controversial. Like, even if I'm really concerned about a client, if I don't meet certain thresholds, I can't just put them in a hospital. We have those rights in this country, which is a good thing, but it really sets the stage for some confusing and gray areas in trying to help a person who, I can't obviously can't speak to her specifically, but there are many people who don't realize how unwell that they are, or maybe be making poor choices under stress or under the influence of drugs and alcohol. So, there are some gray areas that you can try to petition for or try to work with her family on. Or really, the best case scenario is trying to get the client to be insightful and committal to accessing and using the resources that they have.
So, maybe you're a family member or maybe a friend, and you're like, hey, Brittany, again, we don't know her. We're just,
Sure.
there's some medicine out there that might help you. You might want to feel better. Again, I think that we we don't say enough that they don't. I don't think anyone wants to be mentally ill. They don't want their brain to be broken, just like you don't want your leg to be broken. And yet you have to speak to the person that has this broken brain and get them to make a decision that maybe is easier when your brain is healthy.
Yeah. 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 I mean, what I would say to friends and family in a situation where they're trying to help a loved one who may not be so keen on getting help is one, frame it as an experiment. Let's just see what happens. Let's write the pros and cons of our life right now, potentially getting a DUI or, having relationship issues, whatever is at hand. And then let's take the medication for a month and just see how your life is, and framing it as an experiment. The other thing we want to keep in mind is we really want to not invalidate their reasons for not getting on medication. Many people will report it's going to dull my spark. I don't want to have a flat affect. I want to have fun. And so really trying to meet them where they're at, of how can we go and make sure you have fun even while you're still on this medication? How can we still have you have a good range of emotion and not feel so dull? So wanting to validate their concerns is super important in negotiation.
Yeah, maybe you could say you could still dance and have fun and do whatever you want to do, but like let's
People dance on medication all the time.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I like that approach. I just think all of us, you love her as an artist. Maybe you're a fan. You feel for her because you heard all these things that she went through in a conservatorship, and now this is the end result of it. And you know what? It's also interesting as we wrap up, Melissa, because we only have a little bit more time. When many celebrities were getting DUIs, I was in Los Angeles doing American Idol reporting and things like that. And I asked the publicist about it, and they said, it's really the only time they're ever alone is in a car by themselves, right? So, because I was like, why aren't they taking Lyft, Uber? Why don't they have a driver? And they'd say, you know what? They're surrounded by people all the time. With this case, we've heard that Britney was largely alone in that house. So it surprises me that, again, we think that her brain is not fully healthy right now, but it surprises me that she wanted to be alone and then alone. But again, what do I know?
Yeah, and that may be part of what she's dealing with. She's under a lot of stress. I did grow up as a fan. I grew up watching her under the scrutiny of the world, and it makes sense why someone who went through that wants to be alone. I do think maybe a DUI, if she is going through something, could be the one time that she's sort of forced to really think about her actions instead of being surrounded by yes men or having access and money to all the resources. She might have to change at this point, given the legality of the issue.
Going to make sure that she shows up, she has to be there, or there's consequences. Melissa Harrison, thank you so much. We appreciate your insight.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Have a great day.